learn about value and the value scale. And then we're going to finish up our very neat name project we worked on last week. Have fun!
So when we talk about value in art, we are talking about the lightness or darkness of a color. And this can refer to all of the colors, but it's easiest to see in black and white. So I drew a simple value scale on the top of the page for you to see that. White is the highest value, and black is the lowest value. You can draw your own value scale using patterns too, and you could use any pattern you want to, circles, lines, anything you wanted to. And I drew simple lines in the middle, and then I spaced them out more to the right, and then drew them closer together on the left, because when you draw things closer together, it makes it darker, and when you space it out more, it makes it lighter. So we are going to practice a simple value lesson using some basic shapes. Now, when a light hits an object, it's going to have a higher value, it's going to be lighter, and then where there are shadows on an object, it's going to have a lower value, it's going to be dark. So usually we blend these things on round objects, but I'm going to draw lines just so that it's easier to see. So we have a cone on the right and a circle on the left, a sphere. When we draw value, it makes shapes look three-dimensional. And it's really helpful in art to make things look realistic or three-dimensional. So if our light is coming from the left, then we are going to draw the darker shades on the right and the lightest shades on the left. So I'm going to start with the cone, and I'm using the same color, but I just pressed really hard on the right, and then I draw a little bit lighter to the left of that, and then a little bit lighter, and then for that last segment of the cone, I'm going to color it in really, really lightly. And then for the sphere over here, same thing. I'm just going to use green this time, but color it in really dark on the bottom, and then a little bit lighter, and a little bit lighter as we go. And then I'm going to leave that small circle white, and that could be the highlight for the sphere. And like I said before, we don't usually use these lines when we're drawing rounded shapes. We just gradually shade it this way, but drawing the lines help you see that clearly, especially when you're starting out learning about value. All right, so there we go. Those are our simple shapes of value, and I'm going to add some shadows. Again, if the light is on the left, then the shadow would be on the right, and that would be the very darkest color. Typically the shadow is.
So to continue on with the video, what she said in her video, we're going to make a value scale. So with your piece of paper, I want you to make a big, long rectangle. And in your rectangle, I want you to make 6 boxes. And at the top, write value scale. We're going to do a little bit of practicing of creating your own value scale. We're going to go from darkest to lightest. I want you to number the bottom 1 through 6, just like I did here. You can use a Sharpie if you want, but you don't have to. The first thing we're going to do with our value scale is we're going to start with our darkest value and work towards our lightest. So on the bottom here, I'm going to put darkest, and I'm going to do a big arrow, and I'm going to say it's going to lightest. And since we're using our pencil this time, in your first square, color in your first box dark. As dark as your pencil will go. On boxes 2 through 6, I'm going to use a cross hatch texture lines like we have worked on before. As we get into the next few lessons, we will do more on our ways to shade and different techniques. But for now, I'm just going to focus on the cross hatching. We've done this on our mammoth lesson for the texturing for him. We're going to do that for this value scale. So again, to review, we're going to use crossing lines to create our value. Now, the closer our lines are, the darker it is. So I'm going to go one way, and then I'm going to go the other way, just like a T. You're going to do one layer, and then go the other way for a different layer. And if you find that you need it a little bit darker, add another layer. And then on my third box, I'm going to do the same cross-hatching technique, but I'm going to make my spaces in between larger. So if I go through, you'll see that there's more white showing through my paper than there was on my number 2 box. Just like that. And that is a lighter color than my number 2 box. Then I'm going to keep going, and on my number 6 box, when I get to white, I'm not going to put anything. So if you see now, number 4 has even less marks. They have bigger gaps. So they get lighter and lighter as I go through. So go ahead and finish your value scale and come back. Now that we've practiced our value scale, go ahead and grab your project from last week with your name. And we're going to work on the element of value. I want you to pick 4 or 5 or 2 or 3, however many you want, things, places, or people that are of value to you. I'm going to choose 3 words, and I'm going to make them into bubble letters. So I want you to make them into bubble letters as well, but they can be whatever you want. I'm going to choose family, friends, and health. And inside my bubble letters, I'm going to make a value scale. Now, if you feel like it's too hard to do it inside your bubble letters, you can do it on the outside. I don't care how you do this. This is your project. Something that shows your value scale in your element on your name project. So for family, I have family in my bubble letters, then I'm going to do friends, and then I'm going to do health. To show my value scale for family, I'm going to use a green colored pencil, and I'm going to again go from darkest to lightest. So I'm going to do really dark green for my first F in family. And then I'm going to do that cross-hatching technique throughout the rest of my bubble letters. Now again, feel free to do the background if you want to do it as a value scale, or do it in your bubble letters. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use different colors for my family, friends, and health. And I'm going to add all my value scale within that. So So go ahead and have fun creating your value scale. Okay, now that the value element is done in my name project, we're going to move on to our last element, which is shape. For this section, I want you to use different shapes that represent each member of your family. So first I would start off with my first son, or my youngest son. His name is Ronan, and he loves to bake and to cook. So I'm going to use the shape of a rolling pin. And underneath his shape, I'm going to write his name. It might be kind of hard to see, but you'll see once I get it colored. The next one I'm going to do is my daughter. She loves softball, so I'm going to make a softball and write her name, Ricky, on the top of it. And my third son, he's a black belt in karate, so I'm going to make a black belt, and I'm going to write his name, Cash, on the top. And then my last, well, I'll add myself too. I love to paint and to draw, so I'm going to make a artist tool for mine. And my husband loves to read, so I'm going to draw a book. So again, each family member is a shape, and then write your family in next to their shape. So have fun with this one. And don't forget to color your backgrounds.